Alright, so I've noticed there's a lot of people are struggling with Hyperscape and getting the hang of the basics of it, so I decided to cover a complete beginner's guide to Hyperscape. And to start this off, the first thing that anybody should know is that when you're in this lobby, if you run behind here, you can actually get back to the testing ground and you can mess around with all of your guns, hacks, and everything from there. Definitely a place I'd recommend that anybody go spend like at least 10, maybe even 30 minutes and just familiarize yourself. There's ammo boxes on the ground so you can load up, and that brings me to the next point. Hyperscape is quite a bit different from other battle royales. There's not really much to the looting system. You pick up a weapon. If you want to upgrade it, you just pick up the same weapon again. You can see there that when I upgrade the Riot 1, its damage goes up. Most guns in the game only get a damage increase at the very max level. So like when I pick up the Ripper here and I fuse it, you can see that the only thing that's going to increase is the magazine size, and it goes from 24 to 26. But when I'm about to fully improve it, you can see the damage will go up. So we have 12s and then 14s. Not a huge difference, but you know, it matters. Especially later on, that 1 or 2 damage is gonna be the difference when someone's shooting at you between getting a way to live, or getting the kill, or just dying. So, if you run out of ammo when you're messing around in here, go ahead and just pick up more. The ammo, 1 brick gives you ammo for all of the weapons. And so you can see I've been picking up this ammo. Let's say I was to run out of ammo with my Riot. Well, if I switch to a Komodo, you can see I actually have full ammo with this weapon. That's important to keep in mind early game. Maybe you don't pick up a brick, you're shooting somebody, they're running away, you're out of ammo. Go ahead and get rid of that gun, switch it for something else, and you'll at least have like 1 magazine. Next is the aiming in this game is a little bit different. The aim acceleration and response curve is pretty severe and distinct from other first-person shooters and battle royales on the market. So you're going to want to go ahead and just like mess around with your sensitivity as best as you can. I personally have been just sticking with their classic response curve and aim acceleration on because I'm used to it now, but there is a linear option and you can turn the aim acceleration off if you so choose. With just the basic settings, I'm doing slightly lower vertical than horizontal sensitivity with a 22 low zoom and a 40 high zoom. The other thing I'd recommend is dropping your dead zone as much as you can, and I would turn automatic vaulting off so you can get more control over it, but that's more of a personal preference thing. Another thing, though, that is super helpful is switching your damage stacking from no delay or short delay to long delay. What this does is when you notice when I shoot things, it counts the damage up for me. So basically that just gives you, like, when you deal damage, any damage dealt within 0.7 seconds will start just stacking up. This way you can give better callouts for your team on how exactly, you know exactly how much you've hit the opponent for. The other thing that I would recommend is going to your preset. Now, I personally have a scuffed controller with paddles on the back, so I use button ping, but for people without that, I would recommend switching your to jump shoulder on the control presets. What this does is it lets you jump with L1 and crouch with R3. Your hacks get put onto X and circle, and your ping is on R1. The reason this is important is because in this game, the fastest way you're going to be moving around is sliding, jumping, forever and ever and ever. And you don't really want to be taking your fingers off of the sticks while you do that. So, as a new player, the first things that I'd recommend doing is hopping into the firing range, changing to jump shoulder settings, and then just getting familiar with the aiming, what the guns do, and sort of how like the upgrade system works. And then the next thing to add into this is you get some hacks over here, and you get access to all the hacks. Now, much the same as the weapons, when you upgrade the hacks, you'll see you generally just get cooldown speed, but you do get a bonus when it's maxed. So like the heal hack here, when it's maxed, it'll heal you twice as fast. You can hold up to 2 hacks, and to switch hacks, you just hold down on the D-pad and hit square. You can hit triangle to reorder your weapons, and you can just use the right stick to select one of the weapons, and then press the X button to drop them, in case your teammate needs something. Who knows? So with all that covered, the next thing is this is an incredibly movement-heavy game with a long time to kill and a very high skill gap. So it's going to take some time to get the hang of. Stick with it. At the end of the day, this is one of the most rewarding movement systems in any battle royale on the market. It's crazy fun to fly around the map. And really, when you get the hang of it, it's probably the most fast-paced and high-octane battle royale out right now. So with that all done, and hopefully your controls set in, you're used to bumper jumper, and you've got a sensitivity that you're comfortable with, well, now what happens? Well, first of all, in this game, with movement being so important, you know, as a new player, there's a lot of different guns and a lot of different hacks to choose. So where do I start? Well, heal is an incredibly strong defensive hack, as is shield, but really, to break it down even more basic than that, you're gonna want one defensive type hack, like an invisibility, or a shield, a ball maybe even, if you can't find anything else, or heal, debatably a wall or a mine. I'm not the biggest fan of those, but you want to have like some type of defensive hack, a get out of jail free card sort of, or something that helps tip the fight in your favor or lets you get out to reposition. And then you're going to want a mobility hack like teleport that actually lets you play vertically. This is a very vertical game, and you're going to have to get onto rooftops quite a bit and cover a lot of space really fast, because it's a very fast-paced game. Players move fast, and there's lots of ways to get away from people, especially once you're familiar with the movement system. So if you want to really be securing kills, or even just being able to deal with the constant level changes of your opponents, you're going to need some type of mobility hack. I personally like teleport. Slam is also fairly strong. Shockwave is not my favorite. You can use it, but it leaves you super vulnerable. So it's stronger, in my opinion, to use Shockwave as more of an offensive hack, where you drop it under the opponent and then you just shoot them down from the sky. That brings me to loadout choice as well. Hands down, the best weapon in the game is this Riot 1 as of right now. It just destroys at max level. It can 3-tap with one headshot. Just boom, 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 done. It's got practically no damage, like, drop off. Like, it has no damage drop off. It's a hit scan weapon with really tight hip fire crosshairs. I'm not the biggest fan of the aim down sights, but overall, like, this is hands down the best weapon in the game. Covers mid-range, longish range, short range. Nothing can really compete with it as long as you hit your shots. Other than that, so this game, I would recommend early on running with like a kind of like a short range option and then a mid to long range option. So for your short range options, I'd recommend either the Hexfire, really simple to use, huge forgiving clip, easy to aim, not the best range, but if you aim down sights, it tightens things up quite a bit, and you can get some pretty far range kills. Now, um, other than the Hexfire, I'd really recommend for a short range option the Harpy. The Harpy just destroys, like it kills people fast. The aim down sights is a laser. The rate of fire is incredible. Only the Riot can really compete in time to kill with the Harpy, but the Riots, you know, you can peek shoot the Riot. It's super nice. You get the range with the Riot. Harpy's range is not the best, but if you aim down sights, you can kind of stretch it out pretty far, but you're definitely going to want to have more of a medium long range option for when people are far away. And so for that option, I would recommend either the Ripper, which is a beast, slow rate of fire, high damage assault rifle, very strong, amazing hip fire, like it just shreds. Or the Riot that I was talking about earlier is a very solid option as well if you're feeling confident in your aim. So early on, I think Hexfire Ripper is definitely your most forgiving loadout, whereas Harpy Riot is sort of the same loadout idea, but just completely better performance-wise, provided you can control the Harpy and hit your shots with the Riot. Other than that, there are actually quite a few of different, there's 2 grenade launchers and essentially a rocket launcher that gets stronger the farther the bolt travels. These are like your projectile weapons, and everything other than the projectile weapons in this game is hit scan. So you don't have to worry about bullet drop or leading any of your shots, and it's part of the reason why hip firing is so good. And I did not mention it earlier, but in this game, especially since it's so movement heavy, it's very rare that you actually want to be aiming down your sights. The times that you want to be aiming down sights is when you need to stretch out a little bit of extra range from your gun, or if you're jumping around in the air, it doesn't penalize your movement at all, so you might as well, if you find it more comfortable, to aim like that. However, for the most part, like, you're not going to be aiming down sights. You'll get a feel for that more as you play, but try to hip fire as often as you can. Everything's hit scan, so you know, bullets are lasers, basically. But back to this, the projectile weapons, of course, do not suffer from this. Now, if you were to choose to run one of these, which is fine, the Skybreaker is very strong, and I would actually recommend new players get a handle on it as well, because even if you're not really hitting shots, just the threat of a Skybreaker coming in can be enough to make a team think twice about how they want to approach you. Now, if you were to run one of these weapons, I would highly recommend pairing it with a Ripper. Because the Ripper, it's very versatile. It gives you not as much range as the Riot, but it's more forgiving and can work up close as well as mid-range, up to not like the furthest out there, but it's definitely going to be able to clean up after you hit somebody with a Skybreaker for half their health or something like that. So that about covers it, I think, for part 1 of this. But if there's anything else that you think I should cover, I will be working on a part 2 that's going to be working more about things to do in game, dropping, just how to look at the map, what the map tells you, little things like that. But for now, I think this would get somebody ready to step into their first game. However, I'm open to any suggestions on things that I could add to this in the future. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.